summer there for a minute.
Oh, yeah. Made the mistake of leaving the house this morning with just a sweater and no jacket, and I paid.
That's not good.
Yeah, I paid for it over the course of the day. Realized
Seemed
it's
to
chilly.
be a little cooler during the day as the day went on.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Okay, welcome everyone to the City Council business meeting for Wednesday, March 23rd, 2022. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag. The United
Pledge
States
allegiance
of
to the flag
America,
of the United States
to
of
the republic
America,
for which it
and
stands,
to the republic
one
for
nation,
which it stands,
indivisible,
one nation, under God,
liberty and
indivisible,
justice
with
for
liberty
all.
and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Real quick before we do our roll call, as we've done at the for you looking in from Zoom land, right to left on your screen, we have Councilmember Friedman, our clerk Lee Rogers, me Phil Strawn, our corporate counsel Sharon, and Councilman Joe Burns. So we're all down here. So Mr. Clerk, could you do a roll call for us, please?
Yes. Okay. Councilman Scaringi,
Present.
Councilwoman Rosnetti,
Present.
Councilwoman Riley,
Present.
Councilwoman Friedman,
Present.
Councilman Burns,
Present.
Councilman Scanlon,
Present.
and President Strawn.
Present.
That's all 7 here.
Thank you. Now we have the approval of minutes. Councilwoman Rosnetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the March 9th, 2022 business meeting and the March 14th, 2022 special business meeting.
Second, Mr. President.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you for that. We will move on to our public hearing for tonight. Mr. Clerk, can you announce the public hearing and tell everyone how they can participate, please?
Yes. So tonight's public hearing, we've one public hearing, and the city of Binghamton will now hold a public hearing regarding RL 22-72 entitled "A Local Law Amending the Code to Reduce Permissible Grass and Weed Height from 10 inches to 8 inches." And if you'd like to participate in the public hearing tonight, you do so by clicking the raise hand button on Zoom and leaving it raised, and we will call on you one by one. Thank you. And while we're waiting on that, we did have 2 messages that were sent in. I can read those now. The first one here is from Kathy Staples. She lives in the city of Binghamton, and she stated, "Homeless folks, kids without food, substandard housing. Nope, it's the grass." And that was the end of her comment. And then the other comment we received is from Dorian Zaka, who lives in the city of Binghamton, who said, "I think we have bigger fish to fry, honestly, and that code needs to direct the attention to things other than 2 more inches of grass." And those are all the comments we received. Again, if you'd like to comment on the public hearing tonight, please click the raised hand button.
give it just a few more seconds, then I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. President, seeing no discussion remitted, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. We will now move on to the public comment section of our agenda. Mr. Clerk, will you announce our public comment and tell everybody how they can participate in public comment?
Yes, so now the city council will hold a public comment section here. If you'd like to participate in public comment, please click the raise hand button and leave it raised on Zoom. And we will give you 5 minutes. Please state your full name and if you live or work in the city of Binghamton. Again, if you'd like to participate in public comment tonight, please click the raise hand button on Zoom and leave it raised, and we will allow you to speak.
Mr. President, seeing no public comments submitted and no one on the attendee list with a hand raised, I'll make a motion to close public comment.
Okay, we will close public comment now. Thank you, Councilman Scringy. Okay, we will move on in our agenda. We have second legislation, Introductory Ordinance 22-43. Considering finance, Councilman Scringy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I stand and ask for unanimous consideration of Introductory Ordinance 22-43, an ordinance to amend the 2022 budget to allocate American Rescue Plan Act funds for demolition of vacant and abandoned properties.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Friedman. Councilmember Friedman, go ahead.
Thank you, President Strawn. So I held this over last meeting because it was expedited and something was brought up in the public comment section about this. And I felt that I hadn't had enough time to get a gauge on how my constituents felt about using this money. And it turns out that the feedback that I got was positive. So people felt okay with it. So I thank you for allowing the full 2 weeks to hold this over. And I do feel like I've sufficiently received feedback on this.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on Introductory Ordinance 22?
Call the question, Mr. President.
Okay, could you do a roll call for?
Yes, Councilman Scaringi,
Aye.
Councilwoman Resnetti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley,
Aye.
Councilwoman Friedman,
Aye.
Councilman Burns,
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon,
Aye.
and President Strong.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, we in between second and first, we have a reconsideration of 22. We're going to change things up a little bit. Councilmember Friedman has volunteered to read these motions into the record. So I said that she could do that. So Councilmember Friedman.
I would like to make a motion to reconsider permanent ordinance 22-41 passed at the March 9th business meeting.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, go ahead.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to amend permanent ordinance 22-41 to 1, change the new rate of pay from $21.50 to $21.57. 2, amend the total annual increase, increasing the total from $7,516 to $7,666. 3, amend the total transfer or decrease the health insurance line from $720 to $870. And 4, amend the total transfer to increase personal services stores keeper from $720 to $870.
Second that.
Okay, all in favor of that motion? Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to approve permanent ordinance 22-41 as amended.
Second.
Any questions or comments on this reconsideration?
Call the question, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, could you do a roll call for us, please?
Yes. Okay, Councilman Scaringi,
Aye.
Councilwoman Resnetti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley,
Aye.
Councilwoman Friedman,
Aye.
Councilman Burns,
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon,
Aye.
and President Strawn.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Now proceed to our agenda, first reading.
Mr. President,
Go ahead.
point of information, your microphone, sir, is scratching and cutting out quite a bit. It's
Okay.
difficult to hear what you're saying. I apologize.
Thank you. Is that better?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks for letting me know that. We appreciate it. We can't tell that down here, so thank you for that. So we will go to our preferred agenda. Mr. Clerk, will you walk us through that, each item?
President Strawn,
Yeah, go ahead.
could I please pull an item from the preferred agenda?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, I did not ask that. Yes, what would you like to pull?
I'd like to pull local law 22-01 from the preferred agenda, please.
Anything else? Would anybody else like anything else pulled from the preferred agenda? Okay, Mr. Clerk, proceed with the preferred agenda as amended or adjusted.
Okay, so the first item on tonight's preferred agenda is Introductory Ordinance 22-46, considered in finance. And this is an ordinance to amend the 2022 insurance fund to increase revenue and expenses for damage to the State Street Garage entry lane equipment.
Any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-46? Okay, please proceed.
Okay, next we have Introductory Ordinance 22-47, considered in the Planning Committee. And this is an ordinance to extend permanent ordinance 20-49 to temporarily amend or waive Chapter 327, Rights of Way, Use of Article 2, Outdoor Cafe Permits, Chapter 410 Zoning, Section 410-45, Categories of Review, and the fee schedule for site plan review for outdoor seating.
Any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-47? Okay, please proceed.
Next, we have Introductory Ordinance 22-48, considered in the Finance Committee. And this is an ordinance to amend the 2022 Personnel and Civil Service budget to provide a responsibility adjustment to the program assistant due to staff vacancy.
Any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-48? Okay, please proceed.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 22-49, considered in finance. And this is an ordinance to amend the 2022 mayor budget to allocate ARPA funds toward a community food pantry.
Okay, any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-49? Okay, please proceed.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 22-50, considered in finance. And this is an ordinance to amend the 2022 parks budget to allocate ARPA funds for 2 new labor positions.
Questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-50? Okay, please proceed.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 22-51, considered in finance. And this is an ordinance to amend the 2022 code enforcement budget to allocate ARPA funds for a new code inspector.
Any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-51? Okay, please proceed.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 22-52, considered in finance. And this is an ordinance to amend the 2022 law budget to allocate ARPA funds for a new assistant corporation counsel prosecutor position.
Any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-52? Okay, please proceed.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 22-53, considered in finance. And this is an ordinance to amend chapter 124-39.a, personnel policies of the code of the city of Binghamton, to remove the administrative assistant to the Department of Public Works from the 8-hour standard workday and to reduce the annual salary accordingly.
Questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-53? Okay, please proceed.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 22-54, considered in finance. And this is an ordinance to amend permanent ordinance 22-36 and amend the 2021 Binghamton Johnson City Joint Sewage Board budget to adjust the appropriations to BAF legal services.
Questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-54? Okay, please proceed.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 22-55, considered in finance. And this is an ordinance to amend the 2022 Binghamton Johnson City Joint Sewage Board budget to add a revenue line and several expense lines for rehab work at the wastewater treatment facilities.
Questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-55? Please proceed.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 22-56, considered in finance. And this is an ordinance to amend the 2022 Binghamton Johnson City Joint Sewage Board budget to increase the appropriations for professional services for cleanup and media removal.
Questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-56? Okay, please proceed.
And the last item on tonight's preferred agenda is introductory resolution 22-26, considered in finance. And this is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Outreach Ministries Showers of Hope for use of ARPA funds.
Any questions or comments on introductory resolution 22-26?
Motion to approve is amended, Mr. President.
Second.
Okay, you do a roll call for us on the preferred agenda, Mr. Clerk?
Councilman Scaringi,
Aye.
Councilwoman Resnetti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley,
Aye.
Councilwoman Friedman,
Aye.
Councilman Burns,
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon,
Aye.
and President Strong.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, thank you for that. We will now move on to our non-preferred agenda. And first up, we have local law 22-01, considered in rules special studies. Councilwoman Resnetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consideration for local law 22-01, a local law amending the code of the city of Binghamton, chapter 265-13, minimum exterior and interior requirements, and code 265-14, vacant building registry and maintenance, regarding more restrictive grass and weed height for the city of Binghamton residents.
Second.
Questions or comments on local law 22-01? Councilmember Friedman, go ahead.
Thank you, President Strawn. I pulled this from the preferred agenda because I solicited feedback from my constituents about this, and I received a surprising amount of feedback against amending this law. And the reasons that were given were that my constituents felt that this is not necessarily a useful or efficient place to put more restrictions or energy from the code department, because there are other more pressing things rather than being more quickly responsive to the height of the grass. I know that when Mayor Cram presented this proposal, he made the point that if the height of the grass is lower, it will more quickly trigger a response from code, which I think is a good point. But I think also that, we've been talking a lot about our code discussions about how we can use code more efficiently. And I think that I'm hopeful that when we do have the Municipal and Public Affairs Committee meeting, that hopefully we'll be able to come up with solutions that prevent tall grass from existing in the first place, so that we wouldn't have to use so many code resources overall to cut the grass, and that we would prevent the problem from happening in the first place. So this is a situation where my constituents are against this. They don't like this, so they did elect me to represent their views on city council. So therefore, that's why I will not be voting in support of this.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments on local law 22-01?
Call the question, Mr. President.
Thank you. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, Councilman Scarinci,
Aye.
Councilwoman Resnetti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley,
Nay.
Councilwoman Friedman,
Nay.
Councilman Burns,
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon,
Aye.
and President Strawn.
Aye.
So that's 5 ayes, 2 nays, Riley and Friedman.
Okay, thank you. We will move on to introductory ordinance 22-45, considered in planning. And there are also seeker motions with this introductory ordinance. Councilman Scanlon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I stand and ask for unanimous consideration for introductory ordinance 22-45.
Second.
The ordinance authorizing the sale of 43 Schubert Street to Sarah Walker. Then I'll read the seeker now. Motion to declare city council as lead agency under seeker.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to identify the proposed action as unlisted under seeker.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion to issue a negative declaration under seeker for the following reasons. This is an abandoned lot in a residential area. The purchaser owns the adjoining property at 45 Schubert Street. The purchaser has agreed to demolish the unsafe garage, remove the invasive trees, and install fencing, then to use the premises as green space. Transfer will preserve green space and provide for future maintenance. This transfer is made as part of the city's side lot program.
Second.
Okay, are we
We
in
have a-
introduction again? I'm sorry, go ahead. You got to do.
We have a roll call vote on that motion of seeker motion, please.
Councilman Scaringi,
Aye.
Councilwoman Resnetti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Friedman. Sorry, I skipped Councilwoman Riley. Councilwoman Riley
Aye.
and Councilwoman Friedman,
Aye.
Councilman Burns,
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon,
Aye.
and President Strawn.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Introductory ordinance 22-45, an ordinance authorizing the sale of 43 Schubert Street to Sarah Walker.
Second.
Any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-45?
Call the question, Mr. President.
Thank you. Roll call, Mr. Clerk, please.
Okay, Councilman Scaringi,
Aye.
Councilwoman Resnetti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley,
Aye.
Councilwoman Friedman,
Aye.
Councilman Burns,
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon,
Aye.
and President Strawn.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, thank you everyone for going through the legislative agenda tonight. We will now proceed to our communication from council members. And tonight we will start in District 7, Councilman Scanlon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last week, I had an opportunity to ride with the Binghamton Police Department's CRT program, Criminal Response Team. It was eye-opening to say the least, and I think this group of young men out there, because they're pulling over cars of people who are driving impaired, people who are driving under the influence of narcotics, and it makes it safer in Binghamton when they're pulling these people over. So I know 5 out of 7 of us have done a ride along. Those of us who support the Binghamton Police Department. There's 2 on council who do not, which is obviously their right to do that. But I don't know. I don't know how you don't support the Binghamton Police Department. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Scanlon. We will now proceed to District 1, First Ward, Councilman Scaringi.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hope everyone's doing well. Just be mindful of the weather changing. Want to really thank the proactiveness of the DPW and the roads department. They've really been getting on potholes. And I also want to thank the code enforcement department. They have just been on top of a number of the issues, coming right out same day, citations, working with homeowners and residents to remedy issues. And I just want to thank them for all their work for that. And lastly, definitely want to give a big shout out to the BPD. Definitely have done a ride along on quite a number of occasions, and the amount of things that they deal with are pretty unbelievable. So just want to give a shout out to them as well. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Scaringi. We will now proceed to District 2 and Councilwoman Resnetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too did a ride along. I try to do one at least once a year with BPD, and I want to say thank you to the officer I was with. This time I was actually with a female officer, and that was just to sort of get a different perspective of the line of work that they're in as women. I do think that we as women can do great work no matter where we are, and I do hope that there will be more actually. We'll have when we have a bigger representation, not only with BPD but also fire, our fire departments and so forth. So I wanted to say a big thank you. Always a great experience. I was kind of troubled to see how the seats she was sitting on, I mean, totally ripped and torn, just the, old condition of the vehicle, and just reminded me of the fact that, we have to make sure that they have those, basic needs met so they can do their job. It's spring. Happy spring, everybody. It's not feeling it. It doesn't feel it today. There's garbage everywhere. Pretty soon I'm going to be starting my cleanups that I love to do. Make sure, please, if you're out there and you see trash, pick it up, clean up, help your neighbors. Whatever we can do to keep our neighborhoods clean and safe. And with that, have a good night.
Thank you, Councilwoman Resnitty. We will now proceed to District 3 and Councilwoman Riley.
Thank you, Council President. I'm going to shift a little bit from the canned narrative that has been shared, but I want to ask that we all pause in reflection, because this past week we memorialized two people that were very important to our city. First, Mr. Xavier Cooper. His funeral was Saturday. It's the young man in 4th grade that passed of an asthma attack. The funeral and the repast were both here in the 3rd district, and the family has been a business that is a business in our city that we should recognize. No one wants to lose anyone. So again, a moment of reflection and my condolences to that family. Secondly, the Kavanaughs, those that know here in the 3rd district, this store right here on the corner, lost the patriarch that launched that business. And so again, I hope we pause in reflection for that family as well. I'm sending my condolences to both families. I stopped by to leave remarks, and tragedy. No one wants to lose anyone. So I just wanted to highlight that. But this week, as we watch the judiciary hearings of Ketanji Brown Jackson, I am thankful because I'm reminded, particularly as we think of the quote by Sarah Haggai, that mediocre and civility is not commonplace in legislative meetings. But I thank her for maintaining her composure and being a model of how to behave when things don't always go as they should. So I thank you guys tonight, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman Riley. We now proceed to District 4 and Councilwoman Friedman.
Thank you, President Strawn. Today is my last day of my 20s, and I feel the need to publicly announce that. It's my birthday tomorrow, a big milestone one. So I'm excited about that. And there was one thing that I wanted to highlight that's going on in District 4. Next Wednesday, actually a week from today, Greater Good Grocery is having a free produce day, which is, they host that the last Wednesday of every month. So it's sponsored by M&T Bank, and I'll just read straight from this post that they made. So families will receive 1 bag of produce per 2 family members, with a maximum of 4 bags per family, and you do not need to have all family members present. At 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. noon, they're giving away 250 bags, and then at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., they will be giving away another 250 more bags of produce while supplies last. If you haven't had a chance to go to Greater Good Grocery, I highly recommend it. It's conveniently located on the north side, and they have some outrageously low prices on things. I think they were having an ice cream sale. You can get like a pint of fancy ice cream for $1, as an example of like one particular product that stuck out to me. So everyone is eligible. Well, also everyone is eligible for free produce day. You don't have to show any type of paperwork or anything like that. And also everyone is eligible to shop there. I know there was some misinformation a little while ago that was circulating that they only accept food stamps or, things like that. But anybody is welcome to shop there. And in fact, the more business that they have, the longer they can stay open, and the more products they will be able to acquire. So I can't say enough good things about Greater Good Grocery. I hope that they are a staple that remains. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Friedman. We will now move to District 5 and Councilman Burns.
Thank you, Mr. President. The couple of things. It is springtime and the potholes are appearing. So if you have a big pothole on your street, you can contact me and I'll do my best to take care of it. And any other problems that the winter, now that the snow is gone, any other problems that you might see on your street. I would like to give a shout out to the water department. They had big problems on the south side yesterday. They had fixed some old infrastructure and there was a lot of streets that went without water for the day. And they fixed that up really nicely. I happen to live on one of those streets. Also, next week, the Southside Neighborhood Assembly, we're starting a new sort of a way of doing things there where Bill from the District 6 on the south side and myself, so it'll be District 5 and 6. It's basically Southsiders come and meet your council members and give your questions. They want to concentrate on code and we're going to go over what we've been discussing here at City Council. And I'm urging everybody to come. If you have any questions, come and see us. And it'll be great to get out of the house and great to see people's faces again. And so that's it for my side of town. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Councilman Burns. Yeah, I was going to mention that too next Wednesday, but I mean, anybody's welcome. Come. That feeds into the comments I wanted to make was about code in essence. But we are going to be talking with the Southside neighborhood people on Wednesday, and then we are planning on having an MPA committee meeting on April 4th. This time that's the night of our work session. So this time we're going to adjourn. We'll probably pick a time, a ballpark time, but most likely it'll be advertised as after the work session. So this time we will gavel the work session closed, and then we will gavel in the MPA committee. And that will be a discussion about code issues. And then, like I said, Councilman Burns and I will probably have some feedback as well from our Southside folks from the 30th. And I'll just mention that the first meeting of this year, we talked about addressing code things, and we're moving in that direction. I think there's a lot more things that we can discuss than what we talked about earlier, but I would say that, depending on how you look at it, you have to start somewhere. It's the first time we passed legislation in over 2 years regarding this issue that we've been talking about for 2 years. So to me, I'm excited that we are not just talking about it now, we are actually moving on these things. And yeah, we have a lot more issues to talk about than grass height, but you have to start somewhere. So I'm glad that we're moving on that. I'm looking forward to the conversations with our group, with Councilman Burns on the 30th, and following that up with the conversations with the committee and all of you on the 4th. With that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.